Make sure YouTube's working. Or do you want to check? Would you be able to check, sir?
I'm checking. Nothing yet. There we go. All good. Oh no.
That was me testing you to see if you would notice
Okay.
that my microphone was muted. I wanted to see how long I could
Well, perfect.
make. Good deal.
Technical difficulties aside.
Even though the technical difficulties are my own mentals. All right. Joey, I'm excited. I'm super
Me too.
fucking pumped for this. This has been a long time coming. I look at that sticky note that we wrote up that's on my fridge of what Time Traveler Month was supposed to be, and boy, if we could go back in time.
We'd put another sticky note on your fridge.
Yeah, something like that.
Pretty much. Yeah, yeah. They're clapping for you.
Yeah,
That's the sound of the BCR applause.
it's true. It's their official applause.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me get this lined up. That is live. I'm gonna have to definitely adjust that volume. All right. Okay. This week. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's get doing this thing.
Let's fucking do it.
Part
Let's finally kill Kiuchi.
trois. Let's try. It's John
Fucking
Welch Bootham.
try. God damn it. Okay. Now, at the end of the last episode, we left off with Kiuchi dying for the third time after being taken to the Chinese Academy of Science. This third death was only shortly after he had already narrowly survived the early stages of an internal rupture which had caused him to die for the second time in his life. But on that occasion, during his second near death experience, Kiuchi recognized what was going on and seized the rare opportunity. But on that occasion, during his second near death experience, Kiuchi recognized what was going on and seized the rare opportunity it provided to go further through time. And it was during this trip that he ultimately landed next to what he calls the greater universal mind, which, according to Kiuchi, is located within the fifth dimension. This week, we'll be concluding our series on Suriko Kiuchi. And as promised, at the end of part two, we're going to be diving straight into the weird as we hold off on following Kiuchi when he's inside of his body and instead begin by following the timeline of all of his travels combined. Fair warning to everyone, this is going to have heavy Ancient Aliens vibes. Now, without further ado, this is Genesis, according to Kiuchi.
Key Genesis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 107 of the Black Cat Report. My name is Gil, and joining me this week is the only man to have ever lost his house while betting on Culpeper, Virginia's biannual Black Bear Riverboat races, Joey.
I am here and ready. And sadly, I got the house back. I wasn't
I was going to
wanting the
ask
house.
how you found it again.
It just came back to me.
Well, that's good. I do have one follow-up question to that, though, which is why does your hometown have so many animal-related water sports? It's kind of getting a little ridiculous.
I don't know. We just have a really cool lake, and I mean, most of it's ducks. Most
Yeah.
of it's just duck related racing, and we do have a lot of bets placed on the wounded duck, which is kind of stupid. But
Seabiscuit.
you know, yeah, right. Hey, you know what? I wouldn't take it out of the picture if somebody was just breaking legs of ducks to see if they could win.
Actually, his name is Sea
To make them
Trisket.
win. Ooh, yeah. I do love me some Triscuits. Some nice cheese on top of it. I'm hungry. Sorry. It's basically a pizza. If you put a little sauce on it, put a tomato on it, it's a Triscuit, and cheese is a pizza.
Where's the crickets?
Moving on.
Hold on. No. Well, that was horrifying. But like I said up top, we're going straight into the weird today with what Kiuchi did and where he went the third time he died. So,
Hmm.
you know what that means, Joey. It's time travel time, baby.
Hell yeah. Woo!
It's That's right, time travel. Oh, still going.
Double it up, Gil.
On me.
Doubling
it up. That's what post production's for.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Get this lined up here for later, so all makes sense. Our lovely patrons that view this currently and in the future. Well, it was 15,000 years ago, and Kiuchi was viewing an Earth that was completely covered in water. But as he floated in the air and watched in amazement as waves were violently being ripped and pulled across the planet's endless ocean, he noticed something floating in the distance. It was Noah's Ark. This was the great flood referred to in the Christian Bible and mentioned in the history of so many ancient societies.
I get what the fuck. That's
I told you we're going right
honestly,
to it, bro.
Yeah, honestly, like, hey, there have been ideas about, that the flood actually happened, that a flood actually happened because there's evidence of it. But literally, he got at that exact point in time to be able to find it, which is pretty fucking amazing, to be fair, right? To just like, because you remember in the last, I guess it was the second episode, the second part, that he was having trouble finding that exact spot. And he was like, oh, overshot it by a couple million years. And he's like, oh, undershot it by a bunch of years. And he's like, now he's like, boom, right in the time period. He's like, oh,
it's fucking right
this
there.
is actually kind of historic.
He's right there. And when Kiuchi approached the ship, when Kiuchi approached the ship, he realized immediately that something was off. Noah's Ark didn't look anything like how it was described in the Bible, and it wasn't alone either. In fact, there were dozens of massive cigar-shaped ships floating on this flooded Earth.
Waterworld.
So Kiuchi, overwhelmed with intrigue and determined to discover the truth, cautiously got closer.
Fidel Castro.
Like a fleet of battleships. What's that?
Fidel Castro, is that you? No. With the cigars.
Like a fleet of battleships, the arcs moved across the water in formation, but unlike traditional boats, their decks were completely sealed off, leaving Kiuchi to focus his attention on the seemingly hundreds of rows of windows that lined the outer halls. Through these windows, Kiuchi could see movement, lots of movement, as hundreds of crew members scurried back and forth, conducting work between their stations. Needing desperately to know more as he attempted to reveal the secrets of time itself, Kiuchi was left with no other option. And you know what that means, Joey. It's possess someone's body for science time, baby.
Seems less and less sciencey than it does anything else is doing. He's just like, I'm just gonna fuck with some people right now. That's all he's doing.
Well, I gotta get ready for this part.
Okay, I'm ready. Maybe. I don't know.
We all need to get ready for this part.
Yeah.
People listening at home. And I know you're not listening, you're watching. Or you're both. Anyways, everybody get ready.
Just get ready.
Kiuchi quickly hatched a plan. Oh, sorry. What? Ah, fucked my own shit up. Okay. Restart. Sorry, future Gil that's editing this. Kiuchi quickly hatched a plan and picked a random person, to crawl inside of. There was a brief struggle, but soon Kiuchi managed to gain control of this unsuspecting crew member's actions as he fully possessed their body and began his mission to actively infiltrate Noah's Ark. That's right, Tsuruhiko Kiuchi's consciousness, now disguised as an ancient sailor, became a time-traveling ghost spy for science on Noah's freaking Ark, and he was ready for action. Peeking his head out of the doorway, he looked down the long corridor. Noah's henchmen, probably all dressed in matching uniforms, walked by and into another room. Now, with the coast clear and without hesitation, Tsuruhiko Kiuchi made his goddamn move. Okay, but yeah. So
he became a secret agent.
More or less. Let me.
Secret agent.
Have a stroke.
Kiuchi.
Okay. I didn't even have time to get my fake mustache on that I pulled out. Shit, it won't come off. Okay, so yeah, but Joey, while I'm a sucker for a funky bass line, we all know that this is Kiuchi that we're saying. And Joey, while I'm a sucker for a funky bass line, we all know that this is Kiuchi that we're talking about here, and we want to be historically accurate. So I'm gonna assume that the soundtrack probably sounded a little closer to this. That's just my thought.
Like he's on a game show. Like he's on a game show.
I can't.
And Kiuchi, come on down. Yeah.
No, but I can't picture Kiuchi in a spy thriller. So, I know in his head it was really fucking intense, but in reality it was just.
Yeah. It's just nothing going on.
He's just waving at people like 12,000 years before waves are invented, and they're just confused as he walks by him.
It's like,
Anyways, as 00 Tsuruhiko made his way through the ship, he started looking into random rooms, frantically trying to find out what was really going on before anyone would notice the odd behavior of their fellow crew member and maybe become suspicious. And it was during this bout of B&E that he opened up a door that would reveal more answers than he was ready for. That's right. Skip the line. Me and my freshly printed pages that I can finally read. Thank you, Joey. Hold on, I did.
Welcome to the
show you
future.
an example. I don't know if that makes sense. Like the difference.
It can't see it very well.
Nobody can see it, and I couldn't see the last script either. So,
welcome to the future.
Well, yes. Well, according to Kiuchi, the last room he snuck into contained thousands of highly advanced control panels and devices that he claims were far too advanced even by the standards of modern-day human technology. That's right. Noah's Ark was actually an alien spacecraft.
Dude, come on. Is he in the future or is he in the past? Come
15,000
on.
years ago in the past. Nobody knows where Kiuchi's at.
Yeah, it's like, dude, come on. God. Okay, Kiuchi.
I'm really... This story's
Kiuchi.
really hard to tell.
Oh, I know, but come on,
not-
Kiuchi.
Not this part of the story, but like, how do you combine this and more that's about to come, with all of the shit where it's like there is legitimate like proof of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
him dying and surviving these rare things. There's the light kind of like evidence around like maybe he did go back in time or forward in time. There were
Yeah.
references that he gave people. Like that shit could be argued, but then it gets into this, and this whole time, this has just been on the back of my mind where I'm like, it's all got to tie together. But yeah,
Somehow.
this is the rest of the iceberg right here.
Yeah, this is the bottom of the iceberg underneath the water that the Titanic hit, and then it
Yes.
crashed.
Well,
Oh God! Is he gonna
spoilers.
crash the
No.
Titanic? Is he gonna crash Noah's Ark? Huh? What does this button do? Boom!
Oh my god.
Noah's Ark's crash. Well, that's how most of those animals
Noah's
died.
Ark crashes into the Titanic. It's what the
Into
government
the
doesn't want you
Titanic.
to
Yeah,
know.
it's true. Yeah,
God damn it.
we used to have a lot
God damn
more
it,
animals,
Kiuchi.
and then Kiuchi destroyed about a third of them,
Fucking
a 15th
fucking
of the
Captain
animals.
fucking Space Cadet Captain Kiuchi.
Mhm.
No. But yeah, so but if Noah's Ark was really a fleet of highly advanced spaceships, big pimpin' across the flooded Earth, then that means that the Bible had lied. And that begs the question, what really caused the Great Flood? Do you know what that means, Joey?
It's time travel
Do you-
time.
It's
Is it?
time travel time.
Ah!
Yeah. It's
It's
That's
always
right,
time travel
motherfucker. It's always time travel time. Well,
Mhm.
Q2 is now witnessing a massive comet made mostly of ice pass near the sun. When this happened, it caused the ice around the comet to melt, which then left the comet surrounded by a dense frozen water vapor as it made a beeline straight towards Earth. He then watched as this comet dipped into the Earth's atmosphere, narrowly avoiding a collision, while the trail of water vapor surrounding it began melting, causing massive amounts of rain to be dumped down from the skies. And it was during this cosmic ballet between Earth and this comet that the two objects' massive gravitational forces caught each other in their orbits, thus leaving us with what we now know today as our moon, which, when it made its first pass, had dumped enough new water to increase Earth's sea level by 2,000 meters, or if you're American, 6,561.68 freedom feet.
That's a lot of freedom feet. That's a lot of freedom.
That's a lot of freedom. That's a lot of freedom right
Yeah.
there.
They poured freedom down on us like July 4th.
Rained freedom. Just like an A10 warthog raining freedom across
Down in
countless
every country.
developing countries.
Yep. God love them A10 warthogs.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing. That event only answers how the flood happened and how the Earth got its moon. It still doesn't explain where all the alien ships came from, which means it's time travel time, baby. Now, going
Hell
back
yeah.
even further into the past. God damn. Now, going back even further into the past to a time before the moon, Kiuchi witnessed a highly advanced coastal city that was inhabited by humans who stood between 9 and 13 freedom feet tall.
That's
Giant
huge.
humans.
That's huge. Yeah,
Yes. All qualified for the MBA.
Wait a second.
these
Wait a
giants-
second. Are we getting into the flat Earth conspiracy too? Oh God. Can we not, Kiuchi?
You never know where Kiuchi's going to take you.
I know. You never know.
Kiuchi's the worst travel guide. Either he's dying on the floor in an elevator or just fucking taking you through every conspiracy you've ever heard. There's two
It's
options with
pretty much.
Kiuchi.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, it's never a dull moment. Never a
This
dull
is
moment.
why this is why Kiuchi, again, if Black Cat Report was somehow synthesized into a human being, it would be Saruiko Kyuchi. Just I see it. I see it. I can't
Yeah,
unsee
yeah.
it.
I mean, he's hitting
I want to
everything, so
unsee it, And like
no
honestly,
longer.
by the time he actually dies, he might have had 9 lives. Like this just keeps going,
Yeah.
So
Well,
might be a
let's
cat.
get into it. Let's get
Might be a
into this
cat.
guy. Let's get into the next adventure. Where are we going?
So like I said, it was inhabited by humans who stood between 9 and 13 feet tall. These giants were in fact residents of the legendary lost city, Atlantis. But if they were human, why are they so gosh darn tall, you ask? I don't know why I said it like that. Um, but if they were human, why are they so gosh darn tall, you ask?
Mm-hmm. Why? Why are they so gosh darn tall? I mean, why the fuck are they gosh darn tall?
I knew you were going to ask that. Well, according to Kiuchi, it's because of the water. You see, when the comet dumped all that water onto the Earth, it
Mm-hmm.
increased the size of our oceans by a third. And when all that water got added up, oh wait, no, that was totally the right line. I'm not used to being able to read the fucking script, so like I'm not squinting anymore. Now it's just like, whoa, I can see it. And now I'm like, where the fuck was I? So, but if they were human, da 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 da, why they're so tall? Well, according to Kiuchi, it's because of the water. You see, when the comet dumped all that water onto the Earth, it increased the size of our oceans by a third. And when you add all that water, it's gonna increase the Earth's gravity. More mass
Mm-hmm.
means more gravity, and more gravity means shorter life forms. Makes sense.
That makes sense. I
Makes
think that
sense.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's logical. Yeah.
The next part might not. So that wasn't all. You see, the
Never is.
water the comet dumped was different from the water that had already been on Earth. This original water, which Kyuchi refers to as ancient water, was more nutritious and made it possible for the Atlanteans to grow to such incredible heights. Further,
Mm-hmm.
Kyuchi claims he's managed to recreate ancient water, which apparently he sells online. For
He
the
just
love
pees
of
it out. He
God.
drinks regular water and pees it out. It's just space pee. It's just space pee.
And for the love of God, though, if anyone can find the link, please email it to us. theblackcatreport@gmail.com. I want a Kiuchi souvenir for the studio so goddamn bad. And if
We
it could
will
be Kiuchi
definitely.
brand ancient water,
We will film Gil drinking this water too. We'll buy two, so you can
yeah.
have one for, and we'll film Gil drinking this water, and it'll be free on the Patreon. So
You will get to actively watch Gil as he is hauled off
drink
to the
urine.
hospital time
Yeah,
traveling.
yeah. He will be dead. It actually is strained with parts of his DNA that actually gives you the disease that he had to kill you. And so, yeah, keep rolling, Kyuchi. Make that
Keep on
money.
rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Big Kyuchi, keep on rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back to Atlantis. As Kyuchi gazed upon the city with wonder, he saw the Atlanteans riding on the backs of dinosaurs, which apparently were not at all like the Jurassic Park dinosaurs that were vicious lizards that we all know and love,
Mm-hmm.
but actually more like horses or really chill camels.
That's interesting. More, yeah, I can see that. Honestly, not at all. I mean, I don't know. They can be domesticated, right? Like just any animals can be domesticated, and they were also animals. But I have a question though. I have a big question for you. If you
Yeah,
hopefully you can
please,
answer it. Gil.
please.
Um.
Any question as long as it has to do with Kyuchi.
Uh. Maybe I'll not ask the question then.
No, give it a shot.
Okay. Well, do dinosaurs lift a lot? Because why are those
I
dinos so
don't know.
sore?
Well, it's because they never skip leg day.
They always skip leg day. Haven't you seen one that the dinosaurs' legs? They're
No,
always
the
skipping leg day.
arms. Their arms, but
Well, it
their
depends on the
legs are
animal, I
always like
guess.
pow
The
pow. You know what I'm
Tyrannosaurus
saying?
Rex. True,
They're
I
like
guess, yeah.
they're like asteroid thighs.
Hmm.
I'm gonna
True.
cricket myself on that one later.
Mm-hmm.
Well, excuse me. Well, life seemed like paradise on Earth before the moon, but as Kiuchi had already learned, a flood would soon come, and everything would quickly be changed. And so he watched on. And so he watched on as time passed and the date grew near. He saw the moment that the Atlanteans became aware of the comet that was racing towards Earth and witnessed the panic that broke out among the population. As news spread, many gave up hope and soon began boarding their interstellar spacecraft in an attempt to escape the impending cataclysm, thus choosing to take on a new life as refugees searching the universe for a new home. No, he does not explain why they rode dinosaurs and had interstellar spacecraft. I've been thinking about this way too much.
Well, he wouldn't. I guess he wouldn't know unless he did the research, right? Like he wouldn't. I guess he inhabited that person's body to get on the Atlantean ship, so he should have had.
No, no. He was just hovering. Or are you talking about for the arc
Yeah, for the arc, yeah.
when
He got
infiltrated
in that
Noah's
guy's
Ark?
body, yeah. But did he? He didn't. I guess he saw stuff that showed him that kind of stuff. But I'm trying to understand. Like, yeah, he wouldn't really know, right? Unless he like watched everything. It's kind of hard to say like you would know everything just by watching it. It's just like if you were in a time traveler, like 1,000 years in human time is a long time, but it's past like that. If you're time traveling and you're seeing all these crazy things happen at once, so he wouldn't be able to get the whole gist of like the inter time things that are happening. Like World War I and World War II were like World War I was like what, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, and World War II was about 3, 4. Well, it was about 5 years, the same. And so that changed the history of the world so much
Mm-hmm.
in the in like everybody. But it was literally just this amount of period. He's doing like a macro version of that, like a huge version of like probably thousands of years at a time. So he probably wouldn't be able to get those small leaps that quickly and be like, I don't know how that happened, right? In
So
my
this
mind.
is something that no. That's a very good point. And this is something that has been hinted at through all this. Again, this is Kyuchi's third rodeo, so like keep that in mind.
Yeah.
This is
He's
his
still
third
a rookie.
time.
Yeah.
He is a pro at this point compared to anybody else who's ever died in history. Like he
Oh,
is the
I
most.
guess
If
yeah, he's died the
he
most and come
is
back, yeah.
he has taken the gold at every Olympics in history and ran off with it in his time traveling. Like he's
Mhm.
who the fuck has died this many times? Like
Yeah.
certifiably died this many fucking
Yeah, nobody.
times.
Yeah.
So as much as he can be a pro, he's a pro.
Yeah.
Enough that he had, 30 something years to look back on his first near death experience and learning to time travel and inhabit people's bodies and had all that
Yeah.
time to kind of like think through the process, the experience, and develop regrets/new questions as he was staring off at the sky every night until eventually discovering multiple comets and potentially helping to save the Earth in 100 years. Right? He had a lot of time to think while he's staring at the sky.
True.
Well, so he was very aggressive. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. He was very aggressive this go round, and there were
Yeah.
things that he knew to be true from his first experience. One of those things was basically think it and it happens. Like think it and
Yeah.
it happens. That's all he has
Mhm.
to do. Thought about his mom, he was behind his mom. Right?
Yep.
Thought about his sisters, he was sitting in the car with his sisters. Thought about his friends at the gas station, he was in the room, da 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 da. This just keeps expanding until eventually he thought about when he was 6 and he was already in that perfect moment in time. Right? And I'm sure if you would have asked him, what date did that happen? When you were 6 years old, when you heard
Yeah.
a voice yelling to look out, and then a boulder was coming down the mountain, yada yada. I'm sure if you would asked him like what day was it, he wouldn't be able to be like it was September 3rd at 10:31 a.m.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to do that, but he had that clear memory of a point in time.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward literally 2 times. He
Yeah.
thought about what's life going to be like later when I'm older, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was standing in that room, that Japanese style like conference room. Um,
Yeah.
no, it's not even Japanese style. It was literally a Japanese conference room. So to Americans, it was Japanese style.
Yeah.
But in that
Yes.
conference room, seeing himself at 40 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he saw everything. Like it got down to, and there was a lot of shit that I left out because it was like, okay, we get it by now. By the time I was at that point in the script, but he was describing the color of his shirt, the buttons that he had on, the different signs that were on the walls, all these things like that. And when he kind of first came out
Yeah.
of his death and started saying, "This is all the crazy shit that I saw," that was part of what was documented of what he saw, and that's what he
Yeah.
experienced when he was 40 years old. Now, the key point here
Mm.
is that he just thought about when I'm older, and he jumped to it. He just thought about a time vaguely when he was 6.
Mm-hmm.
He jumped to it. So he's just thinking about the Great Flood and jumping to it.
Yeah. Just
And
any
he's just
time in
thinking
that
about
point.
before the Great Flood and jumping to
Mhm.
it. He doesn't need to have that exact date. He just kind of needs to have a concept of what point in history, and he's taken there. He went so far back when it comes to like Atlantis and shit. He went so far back that he saw the time in Atlantis before they were even aware a comet was coming to fuck up the entire Earth and cause the Great Flood. And then
Yeah.
he chose to stay there and like putting a, a fucking like movie on fast forward. He's like, okay, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Like he watched
Yeah.
it play out until he was like, okay, we're getting close to the date. Slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
you know,
He had
then
his
he
like
started
little
seeing
remote.
society
He was
freak
like,
out. Yeah.
Yeah. His little
Yeah.
Kiuchi remote.
So it's the concept of, again, it's the fifth dimensional, greater universal mind kind of like concept of the fact that there is no past, present, forward, back, side to side, da da da. It's just all present. It's all existent. It's all the time, and you can just pull and pop up at any fucking point. There is no
Yeah.
dialing in the dial like a traditional, time travel, like H.G.
Yeah.
Wells style, like time travel.
I guess the idea behind that too is from his idea that he went way forward in time and found the fifth dimension, and that's the idea behind what he's doing now. Is it's like
Well-
everything is happening at the same time.
Well, there's a difference though, and this is really good. This is adding to the plot, people. Please don't skip over this. So no, that's really good. His wish, which is the dangerous part of if you think it's literally
Yeah.
halfway through that fucking thought you're there, was I want to go forward and backwards in time. So he went forwards and backwards in time at the same fucking time.
Oh god, that must be mind bending.
That was the fifth dimension. That was the greater universal mind. It was like, he's like, okay, I want to go forwards and backwards. Where the fuck am I right now? God damn it, I did both, because
Yeah,
he
you're
thought
just
it.
seeing everything happen at once.
Yeah. And there's a whole another spiel to that where it's just like there's these different levels of like death and near death experiences, and at a certain point eventually all minds get absorbed into it, and yada yada yada. Nobody
Yeah.
cares about that stuff. But
Yeah,
but,
that's not the stuff people
yeah.
want to hear about.
let's get to the dinosaurs, bro.
Yeah, right. Atlanteans riding dinosaurs. Fuck yeah,
Atlantean.
that's a movie.
I bet you we're the first podcast you've ever heard of the idea of Atlanteans riding dinosaurs, motherfuckers. Like, so many firsts here.
Yeah.
I
We
need to
are
get the sound of a party popper, like, yeah.
Yeah, well, we should
I'll
just
work on
get
that.
party poppers. Yeah.
I am in a highly flammable room surrounded by foam. I'm not. Yeah, we should get party
Don't
popper.
give me that look. You are gonna do it next episode.
Maybe.
It's party popping time, baby. Hell yeah. Oh god, I'm on fire.
Wee, wee, wee.
Yeah,
wee.
that's the fire truck.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
But here's the dealio, because I already threw the other part of the script where I was at when we started chatting. Um, so everybody started fleeing in their advanced spacecraft, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they chose to ride dinosaurs, but anyways, that's not the point. And while
For
most
fun.
left, some stayed. And it was those who stuck around that were on the arcs with their chill dino comrades as Atlantis was flooded by the rising sea. And it was from
Mm.
these remaining Atlanteans that all humanity actually descended.
Hmm. That's
But even though, sorry,
ooh,
go ahead.
fucking ridiculous. It was all the short people. It was all the short people. That's how we got the same height.
No, they were like, "Fuck, I'm too
You
short
have
for
to
this
be
ride."
you have to be this tall to get on the spaceship to leave.
You have to be this tall to be
Sorry.
saved. We're
Sorry,
trying
we
to
can't
start.
we can't have
We're
you here.
literally trying to start Space Jam over here, and you are just not qualified.
Yeah. It was space
Space Jam,
eugenics is
it's a
what they
basketball
started.
movie.
I know. They started space eugenics.
Oh God,
The first
they went on to
example of
become
space
space
eugenics.
Nazis.
Space Hitler. Yeah. Oh,
Oh
my
my
God. Wait
God.
till that comes around
It's
in 1,000
Spitler.
years.
Oh no.
Ugh.
Oof.
God. We went
I
there.
was trying to think of something witty for like Mein Kampf, like my struggle, but like space related.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing. I got nothing over here.
I
I've been
have no
awake
idea.
since like 4:30 this morning. I've got nothing.
But the fun but the funny thing is Hitler was actually a short person too, and he was the only short person, so he charged everybody against everybody else. That would be a Hitler thing, a space Hitler thing.
Yeah, he was very small. Um.
Mm.
Anyways, but even though he was there to see all of this, we should know by now that when it comes to Double O Ceruvico, the world is not enough. And so we went back, way, way, way back to the start of the universe. I need to read that again. And so we went back, way, way back to the start of the universe. In the beginning, there was no Big Bang, no moment in which all of everything was condensed into a single subatomic particle that exploded all matter, meaning, and movement across space and time to give birth to the universe. What Kiuchi saw when he traveled back to the instant of creation was a massive vortex made of thousands of spinning whirlpools of matter that all started to violently collide with each other, so much so that their impacts created a massive distortion in space and time. I've got a few metaphors, don't freak out. Basically, it wasn't a big bang, but more like a cosmic Beyblades match.
God.
One way. No, but seriously though, I have a couple metaphors to try to break this down. The ones that he
Yeah.
gave were terrible. So I'm
Yeah.
just going rogue here. One way you could think about it is if you dropped a bunch of large rocks from the sky into the center of a lake that had perfectly still waters. At the moment of impact, there would be waves going out from the rocks, and then, as they sank, the water would rush back in to fill a void they made. The lake itself would be the universe. The rocks that fell came from all the matter colliding with itself. And the water is time, which, in this metaphor, has waves that are crashing into one another and off the universe's shorelines. These crashing waves are the distortion. I've got more metaphors. To put it another way, I'm going to go from complex to simple the best I can here. To put it another way, It's almost like the splash of matter stained the fabric of space and time. A cosmic blender with no lid was turned on and sprayed a smoothie of stars onto the ceiling and walls of a universe's kitchen. This differs highly from the Big Bang because, in that theory, along with all matter, the kitchen itself was also sprayed out of God's blender. Right? That's the important part with the
Mm,
Big Bang is there was one thing that was smaller than a subatomic molecule, smaller than a
mhm.
subatomic molecule, but that also included space and it included time.
Yeah.
Kiuchi's take is completely different than that, right?
Yeah.
Because space and time existed already. It wasn't in the
Yeah.
fucking blender, right? But
Yeah.
matter was put into the blender and sprayed out onto the walls and ceiling. It was space
Mm.
and time already existed. And this
Yeah. Yeah.
was more or less kind of like an extra dimension was added to the instant as
Makes
opposed
sense.
to three dimensions were born in one instance, right? Or
It's
four
like
dimensions.
space diarrhea or space vomit. It's just like shot it all out over the toilet, which was the space and time.
I was yeah. That could be a metaphor. Yeah, no, but I really hope that this is making sense at some point because I'm running out of
Yeah,
metaphors here. The
it
best
does.
example I can give is a blender, right? Just
Yeah.
and just fucking so much spinning, so much shit going on, it sprays the fuck out and just coats the ceiling and the kitchen and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. It's the best I can do with Kiuchi explaining the beginning of
That's a
existence.
that's a good
Sorry.
metaphor, and that's no. It's amazing to hear that that space and time already existed, and because in the
Yeah.
beginning there was only Kiuchi. Um,
Well, yeah, obviously.
yeah, he's the only thing there. So in that idea, there was already if there's already space and time, that means in other
Hmm.
areas of the existence of the not or non-existence, I guess, for us,
Hmm.
continuously new stuff is being made still, if that's the idea, and the vortex is just continuously shooting stuff out in different directions. So because it's just being violent, I would imagine, or it happens in many different spaces because Big Bang Theory, not the TV show, um, which is uh,
Often confused.
often confused,
Often
because
confused.
often confuses me, that people
Yeah.
still watch that show or have watched that show. Um, it's there's not space and time, so that makes it a much interesting more thing, and that we weren't just in the beginning, you know what I mean? Like we just didn't start with everything else. There's not just one single moment in time where everything started. It's just random points in time where stuff starts.
More or less. And I mean, the argument against the concept of space and time existing before matter, to the very best of my not educated in this formally matter of understanding, um, is how can you measure space, right, when there isn't a point of reference? When there's no
Mm-hmm.
point A and there's no point B, how the fuck do you measure anything?
Yep.
You can't. There's
No, you can't.
just
There's no matter to
so you
measure it
can't
against.
you quite literally as basically the foundation of dimensions, right? Of height, width, length, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
you can't measure any of that shit if nothing is there, right? We can
Yeah.
measure volume, but
Yeah.
volume is based off of a container,
Yeah.
right?
And
Like volume,
we don't know the container. We don't know
even if
what's
you flip
filled.
it. Yeah, well, you don't see the walls, you don't see the size of the cup, the fucking
Mm-hmm.
12 fluid ounces, yada yada. Like
Yeah.
volume is only defined by borders, right?
Yep.
Those borders represent matter. The If you're traveling, if you're moving, it's from one point to another.
Yeah, for
If you
sure.
can't measure from one point
Yeah.
to another because there is no frame of reference because there is no matter,
Yep.
it's really hard to measure time. There's no passing of anything. It's just like quite literally a passing of time is like a passing of material world, right? Or material
Yep.
objects. There's no way to measure that, right?
Yeah.
So without physical material, without matter, there shouldn't be any space or time, which is why the concept of like the beginning of the universe, right? Before the Milky Way, the concept of the beginning of the universe is that everything was just, in one super fucking heated little subatomic molecule and then just fucking blew up. And that's
Yeah.
why, for instance, like there's the theory of the universe constantly expanding left, and that galaxies on one side of us keep getting farther when farther and farther and farther away from this original cosmic shotgun blast in one fucking direction, which is,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, because nothing can exist without time and space, this explosion that's going out to the left is pushing the distance of time and space. It is literally
Yeah.
like our universe is expanding because that explosion is getting farther and farther away. That shotgun blast is going
Mm-hmm.
farther and farther out into space. Thus, the boundaries of time and space are expanding,
Or growing.
right?
Yeah.
But before that explosion, there wasn't shit there. Kiuchi's saying that time and space already existed.
Mm-hmm.
This is totally fucking different. This
Oh
is
yeah.
different
Yeah.
than all three being mixed together. He's saying, in a sense, that these two dimensions, right, or realms, right, these realities of time and space, they actually already existed and commingled, right? Again,
Mm-hmm.
it's the lake and the water in the lake, right? They already
Yeah.
existed. And that matter was flung into it. And
Mm-hmm.
that in the process of the matter being all angry and mad at itself and spinning around and spitting and causing waves and shit, it was causing distortions, like warps were happening. So shit was being pulled over here and shit was being pushed over here and shit was being thrown over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was because of how matter was reacting. Probably cutting all that out of the final the final
No,
cut
it's
for
good.
this episode. But it is a unique take on the process. It is a very
It's
unique take
definitely
because
unique.
it's, yeah,
If there's it's the whole idea is if there's no, like the Big Bang idea is if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear it, is it really, does it
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 doesn't
did
make
it
a sound.
happen, but yeah, it doesn't make a sound. But it's like in that idea is like if there's no matter around, does time and space exist?
Yeah.
Because there's no relative, the idea of time and space is there's no relativity, there's no relative point to
Bingo.
measure it, so
Bingo.
you can't
Yeah, thank you.
measure anything. Yeah, you can't
Einstein.
measure
Yeah.
anything comparative to it, which makes sense. So it's like, it
Yeah.
does time and space exist without being able to measure it? I think that's
Yeah.
the one of the big point. And so
And he's saying the fabric was already laid. And matter stained the fabric. It basically got thrown out into the fabric because of its own reaction to itself.
yeah, that might be something we
That's
just don't
trippy
know
as
how
fuck.
to express, in our in measure the idea of it, because we don't have any measurables.
I'm pretty sure I did that with my blender metaphor. I think I
No,
did
you
an
explained
excellent
it
job.
well. You explained it very
Perfectly,
well. I just
honestly.
don't think that as
Beautifully.
humans we have the. It was a beautiful metaphor. I just don't think as humans we have the to measure something, because you can't measure something that doesn't have any relative to it. It's why we haven't been able to find the big center of the universe. And we did talk about this on an earlier episode too, I'm pretty sure. I think it was on the moon episode.
This will, like a lot of things that I've tracked down with Kiuchi. Um, there's a lot of shit that can be timed to like, or can be like time stamped with Kiuchi,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's a lot of shit that can be time stamped with Kiuchi to a date and time.
Yeah.
And when you look up recent breakthroughs,
Mm-hmm.
it will fuck with you.
That's
Like
why
I'm
I'm
telling
saying
you,
time.
as somebody who's been
Yeah.
actively fucked with by Kiuchi,
Mm-hmm.
I would not be shocked within the next handful of years. If this shit that he was saying back in 2000 would have been around 2010, because all this was technically he was experiencing in 2009. If we could assign a date to time travel, that's hard to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But his
His
third death
body
was in
was
2009.
his body was
Yes.
experiencing
Yeah.
this. Is
Yeah.
yeah.
It was all around 2009. A lot of his really crazy fucking theories, obviously not the ones about Atlantis, but the other theories on things
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
That one was
things that he's
way
expressed,
different.
and it's been time stamped 15, 20, 30 years later. It's like breakthrough, breakthrough, breakthrough. Like leading
Mm-hmm.
science is now saying Big Bang might be wrong. Matter may have come into existence while like time and
Yeah.
space was already like. I'm just, hey, if you live another few years, listener, keep an eye out for it, cause Kiuchi's fucked me up. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
I for a long time I was sending you Joey constantly things where I was like Kiuchi, 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 like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
fucking day. I'm like,
See the
he called
Do
it
you see the
again.
parallels? Yeah. Do you see the parallels? He's definitely Charlie from It's Always Sunny and the with all the things being like, do you see this parallel from his one time travel? It's there. It's there. It's
Yeah.
there. It's here.
God, hold on one second.
Yep.
It is so hot in the studio. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, along with a other, well, along with a bunch of other random trips Kyuchi made throughout time, he also went back to the future, to when he'll be an old man. And while his time spent there was short, it was also trippy as hell. And what he saw, yet again, changed the course of his life and maybe the course of history. He found two versions of himself, elderly and struggling to walk. And, sorry, why did I read it like that? He found two versions of himself, elderly and struggling to walk. In one version, he was happy, surrounded by little kids who were smiling and laughing while he was teaching them how to use a telescope and showing them how to hunt for comets. He's like
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa Kiuchi, kind of like showing a bunch of little kids
Yeah.
at a school, and this is how you do this, and like the homie is quite literally, I mean, technically an amateur, but homie's quite literally like a pro at this and world renowned. So he's like
Yeah.
teaching the next generation. It's really endearing, right?
Yeah. He opened
Well,
up
in
a
the
school
other
in the
version,
Soviet Union.
yeah. Sculpture
Youth group
grid.
for kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
Ooh, no, no.
Well, so yeah, in the one, it was very endearing. It was sweet. It was him as very much like visibly, like he could tell looking at it. He's like, I'm an incredibly old man in this,
Yeah.
and I'm teaching young children as part of some program how to hunt comets and use telescopes, and
Yeah.
it's really great, and it seems like a good life, right?
Be a
Well, in
nice
the
old
other
granddad.
version, Japan was a wasteland, and he was roaming the streets looking for food while stepping over corpses that lined the sidewalk. These visions were laid over top of each other, like two projectors playing
Hmm.
different movies on the same screen.
Mm.
Everything else, when he's went back to the past, has always been very crystal clear to the point that he could literally just possess people.
Yeah.
And even up until the point of seeing himself 20 something years later, when he was 40 years old, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty clear, right? Like he could
Yeah.
identify
Yeah.
himself and he could identify clothing in the room. But when he
Yeah.
got farther, another 40 years, right? Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, there was a split. And
Hmm.
in seeing this, it dawned on him. The future isn't set in stone, and there are still decisions we can make to change our future for the better.
Mm-hmm.
AI needs to be used in a balanced way as a positive tool for growth. War needs to be avoided, and the earth needs to be taken care of. But most importantly, we need to enjoy the time we have. This was the conclusion Kyuchi was left with as he regained consciousness on the operating room table of the Chinese Academy of Science in 2009.
Damn. Damn, dude. What a like horrific thing to be just like to think about it and then just be like, what decision? Actually, that's scarier to me than not knowing what was going to happen because now he's like, what decision that somebody makes is going to lead to this post-apocalyptic future because he doesn't know the decisions that are made and like
Yeah.
maybe the one decision that he makes that he thinks is going to be good ends up, what the old saying is, the good intentions line the highway to hell, something like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't even figure out the saying. That similar saying. But to think that he doesn't know the decision and that makes it, but it could be a decision that he makes by like being like, "Hey, everybody, look, the Big Bang Theory is not true. That's not how it works," and that changes it into a
Atlantis.
post-apocalyptic world, and everyone's just like, he's like, damn, I just thought that scientific breakthroughs and theories being incorrect would lead us on a better path. Instead, they
Shit.
went to war over it.
I totally shouldn't have told them about Swift Tuttle.
Yeah,
You
oh
know.
God.
Well,
No, not at all.
okay. So, well, well, you hit on a point that I definitely want to address towards the end here.
Hmm.
There's a few reasons, and I'm not just trying to like save spoilers or anything. But hold that thought.
We can get into it. Yeah, we'll get into it later.
Hold
Yep.
that thought until after I pee. I'll be right back, y'all.
Well, for those watching out there and watching the video, it's the Joey Minute while Gil goes to the bathroom. Thank you all for being here and listening and for subscribing to our Patreon. We really appreciate it. And hope you subscribe and enjoy. And also, we have a GoFundMe going on for our Beer, Booze, and Boogeymen. So we're trying to go to Hopkinsville, and it's already started very good. It's Indiegogo. It's already started really good. So we've been doing really great. So we would love your support. Tell your friends about our Patreon, how much fun this is. We love it. We love getting you stuff. I am very close to having a video for you for the first. Joey dresses up as a main character from the show and does a few things, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. There will be two coming out in August, so this will be the first month of it, but I'll give you a free 2 ones for this. So we're really excited to get that out there and cannot wait. It'll be let's just say we're not going to mail it in. So you're really going to enjoy it. Yeah. And maybe by the end of next month, I'll have a cat, but I'm not telling Gil that. So I'm just trying to give you guys a lowdown, and maybe Gil will hear this when he's editing it. But so we're excited. BCR has a lot of good things coming up. We can't wait to do the trip to Hopkinsville. We will actually probably be doing an episode about Hopkinsville coming up. And yeah, super excited for that. I also have bought background that I have no idea, a background holder for canvases for a background that I am going to do some fun things with that just might become part of the Patreon. We'll see. Should be a good fun thing. And I don't know if you can see, but this is crooked, and I hope it hasn't been bothering you the whole episode. Also, kind of beaming down, looking like it's gonna abduct me. But now that Gil's back, I can't keep talking. Thank you for listening for the Joey Minute.
Did I miss the Joey minute again?
You did. You'll
How
hear
come
it on the
every
episode.
time I go pee, I miss the Joey moment minute? I don't know why. Um,
Did you hear the last one?
mm-mm.
On the last episode.
Oh no, I don't listen to these when I edit them.
Uh, that's
I don't
smart.
listen to these when I edit them.
Okay, I gave him a future
I
of
just
the
kind of close my
previews.
eyes and click.
Smart. That's smart. I gave him a future preview of the Patreon about Hopkinsville and stuff like that. So, just a few things for us.
Insider secrets. I like it.
Insider secrets.
So yeah, this was the conclusion Kiuchi was left with as he regained consciousness on the operating room table of the Chinese Academy of Science in 2009. By 2011, he would go on to invent the device mentioned in part 1 of the series, the machine that turns toxic waste, pollution, I need sleep. By 2011, he would go on to invent the device mentioned in part 1 of the series, the machine that turns toxic waste, pollution, and chemical weapons into highly pure and highly valuable carbon, hydrogen, and naphtha,
Damn.
all without anyone needing to power it because it amplifies solar rays and traps all its emissions. Over the past few years, Kiuchi's invention has been granted multiple patents internationally, and from what I could dig up regarding the device, a large scale test model is currently being built in Japan as a proof of concept.
Damn. Damn.
I actually missed a part. It also handles nuclear waste. So like again, the conclusion that he kind of came to during his third near death experience after he got through the Atlantis saga
Mm-hmm.
and looked into the future was like, fuck, we need to take care of Earth right now.
Yeah.
And he didn't just think that, right? He didn't just
did
like come out and was like, peace and love, y'all. This normal dude, right? Like more or less a normal guy,
More or
minus
less.
all this other shit that we've covered.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
this normal guy dedicated time and actually did kind of come up with something that might literally help prevent the negative version of the future that he witnessed,
Yeah. That's cool.
which
That's
is
really awesome.
insane. And this
Yeah.
is again the patent numbers and all that shit. They are there. You can find it.
Yeah.
This is a real thing. And while we desperately need to tie up the million script paradoxes I'm sure I've managed to create as we've traveled back and forth following the adventures of Kiuchi through time, space, and hospital rooms, I want to first end the main body of this tale before Joey grills me with questions. And so I thought it only fitting that we end the main part of this series on the time travels of Suriko Kiuchi the exact same way we started it, by quoting his blog post from June 4th, 2024. There's still so many things I have yet to accomplish in this life. I'm just a youngster who has only recently turned 70. As long as my body holds out, I want to enjoy killing time because I'm only 70 years old. LOL.
God. Love it.
The ship got new meaning now.
Damn. Yeah. After all that, you're just like, damn, that dude's. He's lived a life already. I mean, yeah, he says he's like young, but he's lived a fucking lifetime. I mean, billions of lifetimes. So, yeah, in general. But, God.
Dude, shit's nuts. Well, Joey hit me with
Lay
it.
it on you.
Did I miss anything from the laundry list I gave in part 1? I'm sorry in advance if I did.
No.
This guy is better writers than me need to handle this. That's all I'm gonna
So
say.
he never. So his friend. Think of this though. I'm thinking of it now.
Okay.
His friends that he inhabited in part 1, right? So like they became, kind of.
Yeah.
We're like, man, fuck you.
Gas station
we
crew
hate you.
from his
Yeah,
hometown.
gas station
Yeah.
crew. Yeah, GSC. They were like, fuck this dude, and what if he's the one that saved the world? and they're like
You know what I'm
that.
saying?
They're the
Somebody does you
assholes.
like that. Well, yeah. Well,
They would be the.
yeah, I don't know.
What if he just? Okay, serious questions. I was gonna ask a stupid question.
Okay. Yeah,
What
please,
if
please,
he was
please.
the one that
Ask
brought
both.
Space Hitler back to the Earth by creating this thing, creating this renewable source? Does do you know if he has put that theory out there and written like or had somebody write maybe a paper for that's been peer reviewed for the his new theory, the non Big Bang theory, whatever his the blender theory. I will say you've named it, the blender theory, the space blender theory. I will say that's probably your name for it. It's the new
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
So have you
Yeah.
did you find anything in your travels and your keyboard travels that showed you that?
He said in the interviews that I watched, and he said this directly. He said when he's explained his concept, his version of the Big Bang,
Mm-hmm.
Kiuchi's Genesis, right, or Genesis according to
Mm-hmm.
Kiuchi, when he's explained it to his friends in the astronomy community, right, because he has many friends that are in the amateur and professional fields of astronomy because of his major
Background.
contributions to it and his
Yeah, yeah.
involvement for literally fucking decades and decades and decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, according to Kiuchi, he said when he explained it, they all nodded their heads and were like, "That makes sense." That's all I can. That's all I got.
Okay. I guess
That's all I
maybe
got.
we're not at the point to where it would become a full on theory. A full on I mean it's a theory right now, but like a full on widely accepted
Yeah.
theory yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes sense, but the proof is not there yet. They haven't been able to, I guess, scientifically start measuring that. And as we said earlier,
The scientific
could they
community
scientifically
hasn't
start
backed it
measuring it?
up.
Yeah,
The scientific community hasn't backed it up. I mean, that's the important thing to remember about with science is that everything is always a theory, right?
Yeah. Well, it's always theory.
Everything.
Yeah. It's
Gravity
yep.
gravity is a theory. And it's
Mm-hmm.
important to remember that. Like 1 plus
Yeah.
1 is technically a theory, but we
Yes.
constantly prove that this theory is correct all the time when we use basic
Yeah.
mathematics, right? Or when
Yep.
shit falls on the floor, or if you're in the presence of a cat and things get knocked down, gravity's constantly getting proven.
Yeah. Yeah. For
But
sure.
at the end of the day, it is a theory,
Yep.
right? And it's an overwhelming amount of folks eventually taking it on in textbooks and everything, citing it before it actually kind of is like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you know.
Decades of research, pretty much. Hundreds of years sometimes.
Now, something I didn't get into though, um, I wasn't really sure how to fit this in because it just keeps going. I mean, it keeps going until January 4th of 2024 this year.
Well, I mean,
So like this, the
until
hits
he
keep
dies,
coming.
probably, or
Yeah, while
actually
he's still
dies and
alive.
doesn't come back. And just he actually dies this time and doesn't come back. I think. He just inhabits somebody else's body and lives through them.
Until the Grim Reaper stops falling for Kiuchi, sending him the wrong address every time. But no, but
Trick as old as time.
something though that was fascinating. So I forget what year it was. I want to say it was around 2010.
Mm-hmm.
But the Fukushima Daiichi disaster, right?
Yeah.
In Japan, when again tens of thousands of people were all killed by the nuclear reactor like
Mm-hmm.
meltdown that took place,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the tsunami that hit. It was
Yep.
fucking terrible.
This is-
It
Yeah.
makes Chernobyl look like fucking child's play. Like it was fucking
Yep.
terrible,
And
right?
3 Mile
And we're
Island.
talking
Yep.
about in an island nation, right?
Yeah.
Like there's nowhere to go, right?
Yep.
Um, well, within about a week after it, Kiuchi actually went and spoke at a hotel. He had already been scheduled to go speak there. Originally, he had been scheduled to go speak based off of astronomy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously this is more than national, it was international news. Kiuchi was very well aware, like, oh shit, I'm supposed to go speak
Yeah.
right the fuck there in that town where everybody just fucking died, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's like, hey, are you guys okay? What's going on? I'm supposed to speak there next week. I'm assuming you want to reschedule. And the hotel owner said, no, please don't. Like, I want you to come. We actually opened up our doors as a shelter for everybody because
That's great of them.
almost every
Yeah.
fucking house was like flattened, right, in the
Yeah.
in the coastal areas, miles into the coast. Everything was flattened.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
was ruined, or it was unlivable because of radiation, right? Um, and so the hotel in the area had opened up its doors and was like, we're a refugee shelter,
Yeah.
and we want you to come speak not about stars, but about near death experiences. We want you to come down here. Again, Kyuji's nationally known, right,
Yeah.
for his near death experiences too in Japan. Like, we want you to come down and we want you to speak about those experiences to all of the people that are refugees staying at this hotel, this massive
Yeah.
auditorium, the fucking whole hotel of people. Come down and speak, talk to them about
Mhm.
what death is like, because most of their families died.
Yeah.
Right? Please give comfort.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so Kiuchi
Help.
went, and really fucking awesome. This gives idea to his character, in my opinion. But Kiuchi went, and uh, the morning before he was supposed to speak to all these refugees that were piled into this hotel, right? He was walking along the coastline. And this is something that I've heard multiple times with folks who have had intense near death experiences like Kiuchi, right? As he was walking along the coastline, he looked out into the water and he saw tens of thousands of white shadows.
Mm.
Some of them looked like they were drowning. Some of them looked like they were walking. They were all in different movements. Picture the exact silhouette of a human being, but it's just a pure white shadow.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
He heard screams. He heard cries. He heard questions of "Where's my mommy?" and "I want to go home," and "I can't find my wife," and "Why isn't she home yet?" All the different thoughts, basically repeating, of all the folks who died in the moment that the tsunami came through and took them.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And he,
That's
according to
bad.
Kiuchi, he was just looking out at all of these souls that had no fucking clue they died, right?
Yeah.
And he said he did the same thing that he did with when he went to Nagasaki to visit, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's where one of the atomic bombs were dropped, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he found a
The
lot of
second one.
small
Mm-hmm.
white souls of children who'd been on their way to school or back home from school or whatever, that when it happened and they were still looking for their moms, right?
Yeah.
Um, it did the same thing, which is basically, hey, you're dead, and
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. I've been to the other side. Like, it is okay. Like,
Yeah.
please continue. We all just want you. Everybody that's here wants you to find peace. You have no choice in the matter. Please continue on, and you're gonna find home when you get there. You're gonna find family. You're gonna find loved ones waiting for you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm Kiuchi. I've been there.
I know.
That's the
Yeah.
Kiuchi guarantee, right?
That's the
But he
Kiuchi
did that, and
guarantee.
he's and that's the Kiuchi guarantee. That's the Kiuchi
Guarantee.
promise. Um,
Yeah.
so he said that, and he saw a lot of the souls dissipate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that's really trippy, and fuck, like, at that same time, we might do an episode about this later. I want to figure out a way to do this tastefully, um, because it gets very fucking intense. Uh, there are so many very real ghost stories from that time out of Japan, right?
Yeah.
Of
Makes
taxi
that
cab
makes sense.
drivers that are picking
Yeah.
up office workers that are just like, trying to hail a fucking taxi. And taxi
Mm.
driver, and they get in, and they start driving. He's like, where do you want to take me? It's like, oh, I'm just heading home. I'm da-da-da-da-da. They're driving for 15, 20, 30 minutes, look back up in their mirror, and the person's not there.
Mm.
That shit happened so fucking much. And it was all over the place. It was trains where the engineer was watching people get in. Maybe this was some massive expression of cultural trauma. How the fuck
Mm.
couldn't you have that at the time, right? But
Yep.
there's some really fucking intense stories that'll make you question a lot of shit. So the idea that Kiuchi was there a week later and was kind of like seeing this situation is not shocking at all.
Yeah.
Like literally in the least.
I mean that the trauma makes sense too from all those people, as well as, not just the atomic bombs being dropped, but also that most of those people, right as soon as the emperor stepped down, found out that the emperor was not a godlike figure. And that's also adding into the trauma that they also, for the first time, were invaded. And like for the first time ever, did an enemy occupy their territory. So it's like all of that trauma happened in the shortest 5 years, you know? So 3 years,
Yeah.
well, probably just even a year. So that trauma hurt and caused a
Yeah.
lot of that. So that's terrible. And that's the Kiuchi guarantee, that you will have trauma and you will live through it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
But he has helped a shit ton of people, though. I mean, a lot of the
Yeah, of
comments
course.
on his books online are people talking about their family passing and very traumatic situations
Mm-hmm.
and reading what he went through and just being like, oh my God, thank you. Like, I feel so much better about my loved one passing now.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to believe, look, you don't have to believe about history, but if you're going to believe anybody
Yeah.
about what happens when you die, believe in somebody who's had it happen to him 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
you know,
I say yeah.
kind of our best
Um,
bet while we're still on this side of the rainbow bridge. You know what I mean?
yeah. And if you go onto his website too, not only is he selling like that
There's a
water,
link in the show
the
notes.
pre-water, yeah, that link to the show notes. He's
No, we don't
also
have the link to
selling.
his water. Don't even mess with people. I want the link to his fucking water.
Okay, well, his merchandise, sorry, his
Gonna live
website,
forever.
his blog and stuff. Yeah, you want to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
He's also selling Kiuchi guarantee buttons. And it's just
Mm.
like literally a button, and you press it, and it goes, "You got the Kiuchi guarantee." And then after it, it goes. Are you listening, Go? Are you listening?
Mm-hmm.
It goes,
100%.
"That's the Kiuchi guarantee. Now you'll be LIVIN." Thank you, Go. I would like my VCR. There it is. That's the one. The delayed smash. The delayed cymbal crash. Woo!
I'm just being a dick.
And that's the story of Kiuchi.
No, no, it's not. So
Oh my god.
there's more. Now, why did I mention that everything was alien technology? But I was talking about the Atlanteans actually becoming humans, right? Or modern day humans, right?
Yeah.
And that's because, according to Kiuchi, the people that became Atlanteans actually traveled to Earth at some point in time um, in a giant spaceship as explorers. And they decided to colonize Earth. And when that happened, some of them went to Venus, became Venusians. Other
Venusians.
ones
Yep.
continued to travel the cosmos. Um, but there was a small group of folks that were dropped off here on Earth. Monkeys were already here, right?
Mm.
Animals were already here. And this was picked as a planet that could be inhabited by more or less humanoids. And so they settled in and they built Atlantis. Right. So those ships and all that technology still existed at the time that they were like, we need to get the fuck out of here. There's a giant comet, coming.
Yeah.
That was also why they had the technology to detect the comet, all that other jazz. And so when they left, a bunch of them stopped at Venus and were like, hey, homies, we're going to chill here with you for a while other ones just kept trekking into space doing whatever the hell they did. But the point is that human beings on Earth were an introduced alien species.
That's an interesting theory.
Yep.
The ones that got dropped off here were just like, man, what is this shithole?
See that? I'm gonna ride that.
Now that you're saying that they rode dinosaurs, we make a lot more sense. All right, I'm there. Now I can see that maybe we were descended from these things, and it's just like, that no, you know what happened? They were driving through and they stopped on Earth and they were just like, we got to drop off our assholes here. These guys are fucking wasted. They're not even doing science here. And they dropped off all the drunk ones and just left them here. And they're like, hey, look over there. Look at that dinosaur. Let's go ride it. Woo! That's what happened.
Mad Gaga, make the galaxy great again.
Yeah.
We're just going to leave them over there for a while.
Yeah, we got to leave them there. Okay, yeah.
The Gaga.
And the people on Venus, you don't see wars on Venus, okay?
Never.
You don't see famine on Venus. You don't see them. The greenhouse gases are too thick to see through. But you don't see it, And Earth, we have all those problems because they left the shitty ones here. Okay?
That makes sense.
Yeah. We're the fuck-ups of the galaxy. We're the fuck-up of the galaxy.
And that's why we're all descendants of Atlanteans, which are all descendants of aliens. And we're all kind of fucked up because the universal Flint, Michigan water comet crashed into Earth a long time ago.
That makes sense.
Yes.
And that's how they built Atlanta.
Any more questions?
There's too many to ask. So I think I'm done. No, I'm done. I love Kiuchi, okay? I love Kiuchi and I love his stories, but I don't want to be inhabited by I can't be inhabited by Kiuchi anymore and thoughts of him because it's just too much.
I would like to pass this off. I would like to pass this off to somebody else. Well, Joey, now is that time of the show where we give thanks to our Patreon member. Just one right now, starting off swell.
Yes.
Unless we have more. Actually, you're the one monitoring this. Why am I talking?
They're followers. They're followers for now.
They're not
our
followers.
Patreon.
They're leaders of the crowd. Hold on. Go for it, Joey. Give us the closing remarks. Tell us about Patreon. Tell us about how people can join. Tell us about the $1 movie night. Don't forget that. And please give a shout out.
Yes, for sure. Thank you all for listening to this episode. Thank you to our Patreon members, especially Coffee Kitty, who is one of our highest paid members, and that is our most exciting tier because you get all of the stuff. You can see us do this live. You can see the video episodes. You can see us make mistakes, run to the bathroom. You can see Joey's minute while I talk to you about random stuff during the day, okay? Yeah, you can go join monthly $1 movie night. And that gets you a movie night with us. You get Discord benefits where you can talk with us. Be a librarian where you get more. Research assistant where you get even more tier stuff. But please, the link is in the show notes. Go look at our rewards, our tiers. See if you want anything. We would love to have you following us. Also, if you think you want something and you want to see it from us, just message us. Send us an email, contact@blackcat.report, a message on Instagram. You'll get it. And isn't this music so great? Yeah. Thank you all for listening. And hop on our Patreon and give us a listen.
That's perfect, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us again this week for episode 107 of the Black Cat Report. Y'all were the best. The whole time, you were the best. You were just sitting at home, listening quietly, doing things throughout your day. We appreciate it. We love it.
We do.
But seriously, though, thank you for joining us on this fucking ridiculous journey that nobody, not even the subject of the show, expected to go on. This motherfucker was a landmine, and you know what? We took that explosion for the rest of the team, and that team is you, hopefully. So thank you
We're
for
limbless.
making it through this. Talk about internal bleeding.
Yeah.
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 But no, seriously, thank you all for joining us on this very unexpected journey into Kiuchi over what was supposed to be a multi-topic time travel month. But y'all are the best, and for real, we hope you enjoyed it. This has already become one of our most popular and just like skyrocketing in terms of just popularity and like being shared and stuff like that episodes. And frankly, we want to keep the ball rolling. It would be fantastic if you got all the way through this, if you shared it with a friend. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. It's a time travel series. There is no right order. If you think part 1 is better for somebody, or part 2 is better for somebody, or part 3, or halfway through part whatever the fuck, send that to them. And we'd really appreciate that. And we'll probably see you next week. I don't even fucking know at this point.
On a last note, me and Gil, since we did do 3 episodes for one person, we are going to systematically extend July. Since we are time travelers this month, we are going to next week pull us back into July with another time traveler episode. And it might be a little saintly coming up next month. So you'll have to hear next week.
Cool. Well, we love y'all.
Too.
Bye.
Bye.